Welcome to No Set Definition. This podcast where success has no single meaning. You define it, you set it, and you call it.
Because success, let's face it, is not a one-size-fits-all. It changes, evolves, and it looks different for everyone.
And on this amazing show, we don't tell you what success should be. You tell us what success means to you. Everyone is a little different, and everyone has their own success.
That's why there's no set definition, because we ask people to share what success means to them in their own words through their own experiences.
So let's begin.
Hello. We're back on our second episode. And today we have my amazing partner, Jen, and my amazing friend, Denise, here with us. And we're here again to talk about unsung success and how we actually started. And thank you for Ken from last episode, talking about the three different kinds of success. We're looking for fame, wealth, and happiness. And today with Denise, I think you will enjoy her story really, really well. And how Denise and I, we actually met in playing tennis and TennisBC, and where she is the president or past president of TennisBC. Correct, Denise? It's been a while?
Yeah, that's right. It's only been a couple of days, but yeah.
A couple of days, right? And Denise gracefully agreed to come on and share her stories. And then, in fact, later on, I'll explore with Denise. So she's full of insights, and we're excited to actually host this episode. And Denise, love for you to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your story. And then we launch questions and ask for your insight later on.
It's a loaded question. It's really difficult to say, who am I? What's my story? Because I don't always think I have a story. But as we get to it, we know everybody has a story. And so not to be shy to talk about it. I am Denise Wong. I am many, many things. I am, I guess a lot of us identify with our careers first. So I'm a classically trained CPA, but I was never always a CPA. I actually have a degree in chemistry. I was a teacher. And so I think accounting and consulting is sort of my third and fourth career, if you will. And a long, long time ago, a wise man told me that a person has on average 7 careers. So I'm sort of mid-career. And I always believe that our best is always here and in front of us. And so I am on my travels of building my professional career under my firm. And in my spare time, like you mentioned, I volunteer a lot of my time for some of the interests that I love. And TennisBC was one of those. And continues to be, and writing. So I'd like to explore that a little bit more.
Are you like a pro tennis player? I know nothing about tennis, but will you be doing a Grand Slam or anything like that soon?
If Grand Slam, like in the beginners, maybe.
She's a very good tennis player, Jen. She's a very...
No, I think I'm very average.
No, you would hate me. I don't know. I have to run away from the ball. I'm very, very, I'm below beginner. So I'm sure that you're winning trophies and you're up there.
Not quite, but yes. I like to play.
There you go. And it was interesting because I was having a chat with my friend the other day, and they always say that even though we're us in our life, not everybody is a lead character in their own story. So do you feel you're the lead character in your story?
That's a really cool question. Because I think I've always, it's one of those funny, inside doesn't quite match the outside. I think if you ask a lot of people, they might say, yes, she's definitely, she's the boss lady, she's the leader. Actually, one of my friends recently just said, you walk in and everybody goes, oh, the boss is here. And I never see that on the inside. I don't see that. I see that little girl, small town, growing up in a small town. And I don't necessarily see that at all. So it's very interesting that, that question, am I the leader of my own story? I think I am learning to be the leader of my story.
I think, Alex and I did this podcast to figure out success. And I think you just nailed it. We could be the leader of our own story, but we don't necessarily think that way. And I think success is the same thing. It's like, Alex and I'd be like, oh, she's so successful. But you would be like, no, I'm not. And I think we all have that inner person inside, right?
Yeah. And totally not in a humble bragging kind of way either. I think women just naturally, especially my generation, perhaps, maybe that's a good way to say it, is, we were always taught to be humble. Even growing up, it was, be seen but not heard. So when you have those types of narratives growing up, you always feel you're in, you're in a side role or an auxiliary role. You're not necessarily the lead. And then, of course, into my professional world, I'm an accountant, an accountant's back office. Again, also in the back, not necessarily a seat at the boardroom table. So yeah, it's a very interesting question, and I think the journey of moving into being that main character in your own story, because you control your destiny.
Let's talk about the humble aspect for a second, because I think this is really interesting to talk about. Because as women, like, and I think it's a generational thing, but I think it's also a woman thing. And we are all taught to be like, don't brag. It's not nice for a lady to brag. You be humble, be in the back. And I think that's hindered, and I'm going to call it out here, hindered a lot of us on our journey to success. Because successful people aren't humble. Like, I'm not meaning not in a mean way. Like, there's humility to it, but we're not like, we're not in the back. We're not like, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. No, successful people are brash. They can still be nice people, but like, let's stop being, quote unquote humble, and let's get things done.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's also having that courage to speak up, the courage to be who you want to be. Is it Oscar Wilde that has that quote, "Be yourself because everybody else is taken"? Like, I really, really like that, because and I think everybody says it, everybody knows the quote. I think I even have a mug from Chapters that says that. I mean, yes, like, you need it, because you need that constant reminder that you need to be you, because yes, there's probably, is it 8 billion people on Earth? While you might have a doppelganger, there's no Denise Wong or Jen or Alex. Like, there's no you, there's no duplicate of you out there.
Mm-hmm. No, Denise, I wanted to actually on that note, because I actually read your book on the women empowering women, and one of your particular speech and the way that actually resonate a lot with you is in the corporate world. I mean, I've been in the corporate world for 20 years, and you've been approximately about 20-ish years as well. And one thing we always do is just learn to struggle and continue to climb the corporate ladder. But one thing that really resonated with me is I also had a burnt out as well. But you took a sabbatical to heal yourself, right? Yeah. Whereby I took a different path. I changed the job to heal my path. But I love to actually hear that decision that you made to actually take the sabbatical, because you were climbing. That decision must be pretty hard to do.
Well, it's also interesting. I believe the universe hits you over the head and shows you signs. And this might have been like, they'd shown me so many signs that I didn't see. They just had to hit me over the head with it. But you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, I come from professional services and accounting. It's so, like, the structure in that profession is so rigid. It's so, what's the word I'm trying to say? It's so prescribed. Like, everybody did this. Your partner that you work for, your senior manager you work for, did this, when they were coming up. And so, it's really hard to kind of break from that mold. And so, like most professions, you go to school, you get the degree, then in my case, I went to article. We articled, you put in the hard hours, and you do the work. And so, in my story, or in my chapter that I wrote in, basically it was just milestone after milestone, and it was promotion after promotion, and you didn't even know, you were kind of just following the flow. And you kind of just went with it. So you weren't, I think I say it in the story, like, I didn't even know it was me or them. And I kept thinking it was them, until switching my roles and switching my jobs made me realize it's me, not them. Because I was like, oh, I'm starting to feel, every time I switched jobs or I moved into a different role, there's that 6 month of, of optimism and happiness, and everything's new and shiny. And then, that 7 month, that shininess started to wear off. And so then and then when that period of time gets shorter and shorter and shorter, you realize, oh, wait a minute, I think it's me. I think there's something wrong with me. I don't get the same, I didn't get the same pickup or the excitement or that just that bounce in your step when you're getting up to go to work. It was just starting to become more and more of a grind. And when that, and I said, your universe is giving me signs. I think I mentioned that I went to the doctor and I went to hospital like 6 times in 6 months. That was a huge sign. I had weird ailments. I'd never had allergies, but I was allergic to so many weird things. And that was when I said, there's something wrong. I need to take a break. Now, it also helped. I was in an organization that was also going through some change. And so there was an opportunity. I took an opportunity to have a conversation and buy myself some time. And I left the organization, and it was the right time for me to leave as well at the same time. And so that afforded me that opportunity to take a break. Also, you probably know this about me, Alex, is that I'm also a reformed, I'll call it a AAA type personality. So while I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a break. And, I was thinking, 6 months, 6 months, I'm going to take a break for 6 months. I didn't last basically 2 months, but it was a good solid 2 months that gave me that opportunity to really rest, stop, and take a break.
But see, we don't necessarily want to rest or stop and listen to our bodies because, again, we're programmed to be like, well, that's not successful. That's lazy. We're not doing anything. We're putting ourselves down. And I was actually just listening to a podcast with Ariana Huffington, of course, the creator of the Huffington Post. And she said she was at that too. She went through burnout. She built this empire. And she said all of a sudden she was there in her office. She fell over from exhaustion, ignored the signs, woke up in a pool of blood, and she was like, okay, I think I need to stop. And a lot of us don't want to stop because we don't want to, stop that train of success. But then she said too, what is success? My health and my happiness, or me lying in a pool of blood? And I'm like, yeah, I never thought of it that way. So
yeah, you're right. And I think I read that, her book as well. Falling over from exhaustion and waking up in a pool of blood is a pretty severe sign. But a lot of us, like my signs were very, very subtle in the beginning. I'd get headaches. My shoulders were always tense. I was getting migraines. And then a lot of people get tension headaches. And that's why, a lot of us hold our tension in our shoulders. But the big one for me is I one day just couldn't get out of the car. I was working so much. We're sitting all day. And I actually couldn't get out of the car. And I was, what do I do? And I just kind of sat there for a bit. I think you've all seen that meme on Instagram Reels where, as you age, your car seats, it's actually for your back. It's to actually loosen up your muscles. So I was like, I think I'm just going to turn on the car seat warmer for a minute and see what happens.
Quite resonant with me as well when you mentioned that you have little increments of illnesses, then take you to hospital. I was bang on and I just got hit. I just stopped breathing. Right.
you didn't tell me this.
I stopped breathing, and I was actually in a bank branch, and everybody had to call the ambulance and 911 and all that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all good, but more of me later on. I was like,
I know. I was like, you just set us up for the story, and I feel like you need to tell us now because the listeners want to know.
a little bit. We're more on Denise today, okay? Save that for the best for last. Denise, I as I was reading your book, one thing that also you and I have in common, of course, we're Asian. We grew up in an Asian household where, our culture comes into play in a lot of things. We are hiding ourselves as well. And, being Asian has its pros and cons. What is an authentic Asian? What is not an authentic Asian? And one of the ways that, and you can elaborate as well, is I actually struggle with this also because being Asian and not Asian it's quite tough for me. But on this, you mentioned about, and I read this out loud, is in your book, is by being true to who we are and what we believe, we can truly live the life we want with more control over doing what we want to do instead of what we have to do. And being Asian, there's so much you have to do because it's installed into you. Right? Yeah. And breaking that aside from it is really hard. So I'd love to hear your story on how to break aside from what you have to do.
As I see some of my nephews and cousins, and the way they speak is already different. They don't have that same narrative that, say, maybe Alex, you and I had growing up, where we had to do things. And and again, I'm pretty sure I can speak for Alex too, but it's not like our parents didn't love us. Our parents loved us, and our parents did what they could. But this is also them bringing down sort of their generational learnings from their parents and their grandparents, and then every generation's just changes and morphs along the way. And so maybe you could even say some of this generational trauma, if you will, or even cultural teachings and learnings, they get diluted over generations. And so, my generation was a lot of, when you talk about have tos, things like you have to go to school, you have to go to university, you have to get a good job, you have to take care of your parents. And then, of course, like you think about it as you grow up, you've got hindsight. When you're forced to do anything, you're never going to want to actually do it. And then there's resistance and conflict. And so, just psychologically, parents, have it so that your kids want to do it. They want to pick up their socks. They want to do their homework and do their chores. Because if they have to, they're not going to do it. And they're probably going to half-ass it as well. So when I think about that, like in today's world, again, super grateful for everything, my parents taught me and having that cultural insight as well. And now that I'm older, I do actually think that a lot of the things that perhaps I had to do, I now have the choice of deciding if I want to do it. And actually, I would say more times than none, I actually want to do them. Like, taking my parents out for lunch or dinner. Like, I want to do that because I see, that's family. Family is important to me, right?
Well, I think sometimes two parents teach you that it's not okay to break. And I think that's the hard part too, is like, we have to be perfect all the time. And they don't want to show their own struggles of their life. And like, I know for me, my dad, he is not an emotional person, and he lost his father very young. He lost him at like age 13. And then he had to be the man of the house because he had two sisters and a mom. So he had to start work and provide for the family. So his motto to us always is like, don't cry about anything. You put your head down, you pull your bootstraps up. Like, I don't give like anything. Like, I don't care. Just go move forward. And so that's hard too, because when you have that mindset of like, I can't let anything break me or upset me. I understand where he's going from it because he didn't have time to like, he had to do it. He had to provide. But I think it's hard then because you're like, oh, I can't have a bad day. And I can't take a month off if I'm feeling stressed or have like,
Yeah, I do. And I actually think when you were saying that, Jen, I was thinking, little boys, when I was growing up, were taught, real boys don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a terrible narrative to grow up with. It's okay to cry, regardless of what gender you are. And especially, little kids, it's okay to cry.
It is. Successful people do cry, and I think that's a misconception. I think successful people actually cry a lot because it's hard.
Yeah, and I think I love that because when we talked about corporate and being in the corporate world, I remember they were like, don't cry at work. Don't let your boss see you cry. It's a sign of weakness, And I cried at work. I might not have cried in front of my boss. I might have done it in the bathroom or in like some corner somewhere, but I cried.
I feel like that was an eye-opening moment for me because, again, same thing as in corporate, and they're like, you don't cry. And then I'd cry in the booth when nobody was seeing me cry. And then I'd go down to the promotion managers because I worked at a radio station, and she'd always have her door closed. And then I found out later that she said, it's okay to cry. I just close my door and I break down. And I was like, we don't talk about this because everyone's so terrified.
Yeah.
At the banking world, it's a different story. Like, because it's so public, right? And I think maybe it's different industry, a little different. I mean, what
Have you not cried at work, Alex?
I have, so I
Tell us.
I try to find a slow barrier, and I like, because everywhere you go, there's people. I'm surrounded by people all the time. Honestly, I've not cried at work. And maybe that's why I got hit and I stopped breathing. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why your buddy was like, let's release the emotion.
Exactly. And let my emotion out, right?
You got to let it out. Crying is good. I'm glad, Denise, you and I have cried in the corporate world, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
So then, what do you want to achieve? Or like, are you still achieving at what level you're current right now? And are you happy? Are you content where you are, or are you still achieving to the next level? Like, I just want to hear about your story and your journey.
Oh, you ask such hard questions, Alex.
I do. That's why I bring you the.
She's learning from me. I get her. I was like, you got to ask the hard-hitting questions.
So as I mentioned, I have a chemistry degree. And one of the biggest things that I loved from my chemistry degree is this word equilibrium. And equilibrium means balance. Okay. And so fame, wealth, and happiness, they have to be in balance. And so it's not about what the level, to me, it's not about the level. It's not a number. I know I'm a numbers person. I'm supposed to love numbers, but the number doesn't really matter if it's not balanced. Like you could be a 10 on wealth, happiness is like a -2, and maybe your fame somewhere in 5. You're not balanced. You're not going to be happy. But let's just say you were 1, 1, and 1 in each of those areas. You're probably fairly balanced. So I think I lived a lot of my life in extremes. And so now, as I age gracefully, I'm looking for balance. And so constantly redefining what those are, because as you go through different areas of your life, and we all play so many roles in our lives too. So, fame and wealth and happiness will look different, as a daughter, as a mother, as a sister, as a business owner, as an advisor. Like it's all going to look slightly differently. And I think, you know what, I know I do this for a living. I'm supposed to track metrics and do reporting and look at these all the time. I like it, but I also feel like sometimes it gives you too much pressure. Like, why are you chasing a 10 on happiness? It's just how you feel today. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is trying to find that balance, not be so extreme, bring everything down where it's in balance, in equilibrium with itself. And so am I looking for a 10? Well, yeah, of course. If I can be 10 all around, I'm going to be there. But to me, if we're going to redefine success, sometimes a successful day is getting up and actually getting to work and sitting at my desk. So again, while it's really good to have big, lofty goals and that keeps you anchored, it's also like not to lose sight of just, give yourself a pat on the back. I guarantee you, Jen and Alex, you're probably pretty high achievers yourselves, very successful. You probably don't pat yourself on the back enough.
I don't at all. I don't ever pat myself on the back. I just had this conversation with my business coach. He says, do you realize what you did in the last few months? I was like, no. But we all do that because, again, success is such a weird thing. And I think because there's so many things on social media and out there, we're like, oh, but I'm not successful. Like, but people know what you're doing. Like it sounds weird, but I was just in a bathroom down in Vancouver, and it was during like a big interior design show week. And I do a podcast for the Home Builders Association, and you don't realize what you do. And so I went in the bathroom, and this woman, we had met before, but I was like, oh, hey. And she's like, oh, hi. And then she's like, it's so weird talking to you because I listened to all your episodes. And she's like, I feel like I know you, but I don't know you. And I was like, and for a second, I took a moment back because I was like, I'm nobody. I'm just here in the bathroom washing my hands like everybody else. I'm being real. And I was like, oh, to me, I don't realize anyone listens. And then I was like, I'm on the radio. She's like, I know you're on the radio. And I sometimes am on Global, and I'm like, oh, people know what you're doing. And I think that's the other thing is like, we might not feel that we're doing anything out there because we don't have millions of followers. I'm not getting invited to yacht parties. Well, maybe not yet, but maybe Alex can hook me up, but but like, there you go. But yeah, I think sometimes we're like, oh, you don't realize who you're impacting, and you don't need to be on Forbes to make an impact.
Well, I think what it is we need to stop being so hard on ourselves. Okay. You are seen. You are heard. People see you. People hear you. People follow you.
In the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a little bit creepy, but I get you. And it's okay. Be you, right? Be you, because everyone's taken in the bathroom.
I'm okay. Approach me in the bathroom. I loved it. Like, this sounds bad. Like, I was like, meet me anywhere in the lobby, in the bathroom. Anyways, before this goes in a weird area, one more question for you to end the thing is, who do you feel out there? And you don't have to necessarily know them. Could be someone in your circle. Who do you think is an unsung success story? Someone that's not getting the recognition that they might deserve.
To be really, really honest, and I think about this, I think mums and dads.
There you go.
Okay. Because you know what? They have so much influence over the children that are going to grow up and become the citizens of our communities. And think about that. That's a lot of power. It's a lot of control. But if it's harnessed correctly and that energy is harnessed, we're going to have we'll have amazing citizens in our communities, right?
I just have a lot of power.
You do. You are an unsung success story. I thought that was a really cool answer. Really cool.
My mother have a lot of power with my 2 kids.
For now, until they're 60.
Until they flip that switch. Yeah.
I don't know. I was over there on the weekend and they rule the house. So,
Me too. They sometimes rule me too. I was like, I gotta learn that balance.
but that's great. Yeah, moms and dads are unsung success stories because some of the moms and dads out there have the most successful kids, and they wouldn't be successful without the parents. So as much as we like to put them down, we do love them, and we wouldn't be where we were without them.
Without them. Exactly.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for your time. I got to know you through Alex. One thing we didn't touch upon, which I just learned about Alex, is she was also in pre-med, and you were in pre-med. I did not know that. So let's become
It's unraveling. Just like Denise, so her chemistry degree is actually pre-med.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought you meant me. You were pointing at me. I was like,
Oh, the left.
I'm not allowed to be anywhere near chemistry sets. Like, you guys, I am not sciencey at all. Okay.
But do you drink beer?
No, I drink wine, which is there we go.
That's chemistry.
But I don't make it. Like, it would be terrible. I'm a good taster. I'll taste it.
Yeah. There you go.
Sommelier. There we go.
We're fine wines, aging gracefully over the years.
Love it. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Denise. You have been so good.
Thank you.
Great conversations like this remind us why this podcast exists. Because let's face it, there's really no set definition of success.
And it's really your path, your timing, and really your vision.
If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it.
Make sure to follow No Set Definition wherever you listen to podcasts.
Until next time.
Thank you.